The client you choose to play Minecraft on will dramatically affect your experience, from the FPS you get in-game to the cosmetic appearance of your game to your selection of extra mods. Every player has their preferred client, and most of them will give you a good argument over why their client is better than your client. According to a recent poll I did on the forums, where I asked for up to 2 answers so it doesn't add up to 100, 51.7% of the players use Forge, 33.8% use Badlion, 13.8% use Optifine, 10.2% use Lunar, 9.7% use Vanilla, and then barely anyone uses anything else. So in this video, I'm going to compare 6 Minecraft clients: Vanilla, Optifine, Forge with Patcher, LabyMod, Badlion, and Lunar. I will compare them in 3 categories. Performance, as in the FPS I get in Minecraft. I test this with a cross-budget PC and a high-end PC, so you know what to go for. Cosmetics, as in the customization you have of your own character and the appearance of the game. And add-ons, like mods that the client come with that improve your gameplay over the vanilla experience. So, without further ado, let's see which client is truly the best. So first, the performance test. For this first test, I used my parents' work PC, which has a Ryzen 3 2400G and its integrated graphics to simulate a low-end PC's performance. I also did these tests in 768p because that's the resolution the monitor was at. The 3 benchmark tests I did were this Minecraft world designed to simulate single-player lag, a replay of a Star Wars duel where I clapped some guy, and spending 1 minute walking in a circle around the portal in Skyblock Hub 1. This should simulate single-player experience, PvP duels, and heavy multiplayer games with up to 80 people in a small area. Alright, cool. So first, the single-player world. It's important to note that when using a cheap PC, the average FPS is the most important thing to ensure you have a smooth experience, and if you're on a budget, then chances are your monitor's refresh rate will only allow it to show up to 60 FPS at any given time. So essentially, as long as your average is above 60, you should be fine, and it doesn't matter what you use. So here's the first benchmark. Simply put, every single client performed above vanilla in performance, as well as every client getting way more than 60 FPS. Next, the Star Wars replay. The Star Wars replay is good, as it shows a 1v1 on a small map, and again, every single client performed almost identical, as well as beating vanilla by a significant amount. The final test, the Skyblock lobby, is the most aggressive test, as it has 80 players, each with their own particle effects all moving around. Even the best of PCs can lag in a Skyblock lobby, and I'll make a video about why that is sometime. But here, a clear winner emerges. Forge, using Patcher and my regular Skyblock mods, outperforms all other clients in every single field, partly due to how Patcher fixes a lot of memory leaks, which are important when a large amount of players use a large amount of memory. So at the low end, any client really works, and it's down to personal preference, but if you do plan to play Skyblock, I recommend using Patcher, as it will make a massive difference in areas like dungeons with a huge numbers of mobs. At the high end, however, there's some significant changes. If your PC is high-end, your monitor is probably 144 Hz or even 240, so as long as your FPS is that high, the average doesn't matter. Instead, you want to look at the lows. The 1% low is a good representation of lag spikes you can feel in games, and the 0.1% low is a good representation of stuttering you might feel at random times. For these tests, I used my own rig, which has a Ryzen 9 3900X and a 2080 Super because overkill for Minecraft. In the benchmark lag world, both Forge and Badlion performed better than vanilla on the lows. When it comes to the comparison of the two, however, Badlion is about 15% better than Forge, although the 1% lows are both above 144 and the 0.1% lows would not be noticeable difference in gameplay. Moving on to the Star Wars replay, all averages were above 750, but it's interesting to note that just Optifine on its own beat out every other client in all categories. Otherwise, Badlion beats Forge with Patcher, although the results aren't as I expected, so I will retest and the fixed results will be on screen now. With the Skyblock lobby, the averages come back into play. Vanilla is strangely the strongest performer for averages here, but the lows would be very noticeable lag spikes. Badlion has about a 20% lead on Forge and Patcher here too, which means Badlion might be the best performance on a high-end computer. But this isn't the whole story. When testing with Forge, I had all my usual Skyblock mods on, which are extremely demanding mods, but on Badlion, I had all the default settings so everything was disabled. If you want a much more in-depth performance test in the future, let me know. So overall in performance, Badlion takes the crown at the high end, and Patcher takes it at the low end, which gives them both a joint first, with Optifine second and Vanilla in third. I didn't test LabyMod here because LabyMod is not an FPS boost client, and it never advertises itself as such. I would have tested Lunar, but Lunar are incredibly sneaky, and their anti-cheat prevented my benchmarking software from reading the frame rate of the game, so I didn't get any numbers. In the F3 menu, Lunar Client also hides the FPS lows counter, meaning to the untrained eye, Lunar will always seem to have higher FPS than every other client, so I had no reliable way to test it, although from playing in Lunar, it does seem very smooth. So for cosmetics, I'm going to compare what they have that Vanilla doesn't. So first, Optifine only has Escape, which is a nice touch, but it's obviously not a cosmetically driven mod. LabyMod has a very wide range of cosmetics available in the store, although in all fairness, they don't all look too good and don't fit the Minecraft style at all. Plus, the emotes are so bad. Lunar and Badlion are pretty much a joint here, as their cosmetics also look pretty bad and don't fit the Minecraft style. Although I do prefer Lunar Client, simply because the capes look so much better than the Badlion ones do. Plus, you don't get that extremely ugly Badlion font. And look, I'm kinda being biased, but Forge has to be at the top in cosmetics because you literally have the ability to download every single mod or code your own to get literally any cosmetic you want, and then have the ability for other people with the mod to see it too. And to be fair, that's why, for example, Badlion is very popular when it comes to cosmetics because of its ease of use and because you don't need to be any creative or put any effort into customizing your own cosmetics. You just whip out your credit card and there you go. You now look like whatever that is. In terms of features, I will also compare what each client has that Vanilla doesn't. Optifine is obviously last as it has its zoom and that's about it. I think it's cheating to include Forge in this category because you can download literally any mod, like oh my god, listen people, you can get literally anything and customize literally anything that Badlion or Lunar has, but in terms of features, LabyMod is once again lacking in many of its default features as it doesn't come with a whole lot. All clients will disable your minimap when trying to log into HellCastle, which is good, but LabyMod will not warn you about the health indicator mod, which is also not allowed on HellCastle. Lunar and Badlion have basically the same feature set, so it's really personal preference there, although I'm not entirely sure what MLG cobweb indicator is supposed to be used for. All of the mods, including Patcher, have their own social system where you can add and message friends across servers and versions, which is always nice to have. In terms of support, all clients receive very frequent updates, with LabyMod getting the most updates of all, although Lunar Client does not support versions above 1.8.9 and LabyMod only supports 1.8.9 and 1.12, whereas Badlion supports all versions, so it definitely gets a bonus point from me. Now, Both Badlion and Lunar support client-side anti-cheat, which means you can implement it into your server and require players to use the client that detects cheats on the user's PC, banning them, which makes anti-cheat so much easier for servers and for players. The only downside is, well, you have to use the client on those servers. Lunar's anti-cheat makes it hard for other programs to interfere with it, meaning if you use any overlays, they likely won't work on Lunar. However, Badlion also installs a system file into your System32 that runs constantly on your PC and automatically stops any hacks you try to run on your PC. I don't know about you, but for me, I really care a lot about all the small processes running all the time in the background, and I wouldn't like if there's something scanning my PC the whole time. I don't really know, dude. Their privacy policies also seem kinda weird, but after all, it's up to you really. It also gives Badlion access to some personal information, read the privacy policy if you're a freak, and screenshots you take only in-game. Lunar Client also does the same exact thing, although without the system driver. So, what is the best client? In short, Forge paired with Patcher is going to be the best as it's fully custom. LabyMod is also amazing as you can install it with Forge and all of your Skyblock mods, plus any mods you want for a fully custom experience. It's also a quick way to turn your Skyblock installation into a PvP installation in a few clicks, and it doesn't add any more lag than any other PvP mods would. If you want an all-in-one package, Lunar Client is probably better as some of the cosmetics look nicer and the whole feel just looks nicer, more modern, and it works. Badlion is okay, but the System32 thing sucks and it looks incredibly clunky. Or just go with Optifine or Vanilla and enjoy the game as it is. You don't have to use mods, even though I do recommend it. Alright, cool, that's about it. What did I get wrong? Are your results different to mine? Share in the comments and I'll see how I can improve.